Welcome to this deep dive. We're getting into something really fascinating today, something that might just shift how you think about, well, yourself, really. It's this powerful idea that your body holds a kind of deep, unspoken wisdom. You know, memories your conscious mind might not even register.
Right. It's like thinking of the body as this silent archive, always recording, always communicating, but maybe not in ways we expect or usually listen to.
Exactly. It really makes you reconsider memory itself, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. We tend to think memory is just about, conscious recall, things we can tell stories about. But this suggests something broader, a kind of knowing that's, well, embodied, held in the tissues almost.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I mean, have you ever been doing something physical, like maybe stretching in yoga or even just getting a massage?
Sure.
And bam, suddenly there's this wave of emotion. It just seems to come out of nowhere. Maybe sadness or even like unexpected joy.
Well, definitely. Those moments are really interesting, aren't they?
They make you wonder, what is that? What's going on under the surface?
Well, they hint at how experiences, maybe things we didn't fully process at the time, can kind of reside within us. And they come out through sensation, through emotion. It's like the body has its own language.
A language that sort of bypasses our usual thinking minds.
Exactly. It speaks directly.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit more.
Yeah.
This idea of the body as an archive.
Yeah.
You mentioned that example, like someone getting a massage.
Right, just looking to relax.
And the therapist works on a spot, maybe the upper back, and suddenly they just start crying.
Yeah.
But they can't connect it to anything specific. No conscious thought or memory triggers it.
That's such a powerful illustration, isn't it? Because in that physical release, the body seems to be letting go of something the mind hadn't consciously dealt with.
It's not just muscle tension then.
No, not at all. It's like a dam breaking, held emotion, finding an outlet.
And there's more to it than just the physical feeling, right? There's a psychological piece, maybe even philosophical.
Oh, definitely. It ties into how we perceive things. You know, the idea of figure and ground, what we focus on versus the background.
Vaguely, yeah. Like what stands out versus everything else.
Exactly. And sometimes experiences, especially difficult ones, can sort of recede into that background. We lose conscious touch with them.
So they're still there, but just not in focus.
Precisely. They become part of the ground of our being.
It's almost like picturing your body as a kind of living library.
I like that analogy.
But the entries aren't in words. They're written in, I don't know, that chronic knot in your shoulder.
Or the way you breathe when you're stressed.
Yeah, or even just your posture. It's like a language we've kind of forgotten how to read.
We really have. We treat our bodies like cars, just things to get us around.
Instead of these amazing archives of everything we've lived through.
That loss of, let's call it bodily literacy, is huge. Think about when you're super focused on work, right? Deadline looming.
Been there.
You might completely tune out that your neck is getting stiffer and stiffer, or your back is starting to ache.
Until it screams at you.
Exactly, because your focus, the work, that's the figure, and the bodily sensations, the ground, they just fade out of awareness.
We push through it. So what if we deliberately flipped that? What if we tried to bring those background feelings, those aches, into focus?
Well then the body really starts talking, doesn't it?
How so?
Every little sensation, every subtle feeling, it can hold a piece of a story. Maybe not a neat story, but fragments, images, emotional tones.
So it requires a different kind of listening, not just thinking about it.
Yes, exactly. A kind of mindful presence, just being with the sensation.
It sounds related to muscle memory. You know, riding a bike without thinking.
It is, but it's deeper than just motor skills, I think. It's more like embodied cognition.
Embodied cognition. Yeah.
Our experiences, physical, emotional, they get integrated into our whole system, not just the brain.
Right. When you learn to, say, play guitar, it's not just your brain sending signals. Your fingers know, your whole body adjusts.
Exactly. Your nerves, muscles, cells, they all learn. So if the body stores that kind of complexity.
But what about things like joy? Or grief, fear, love?
Do they leave an imprint too? That's the really fascinating question, isn't it?
It really is. So going back to the massage example, the tears might not have been random at all.
Probably not. They were likely the body expressing something unresolved it had been holding, maybe for years, even without a conscious memory attached.
Wow. It highlights this strange paradox then.
Which is?
That the body, which we often think of as, just serving the mind.
The workhorse.
Yeah. It might actually hold insights the mind can't get to easily.
Especially
with things that are messy, ambiguous, complex.
The body seems to operate with a different kind of wisdom, you could say. Less linear, more holistic.
Okay, so a big takeaway here seems to be, pay attention. If you get an unexpected feeling during some ordinary activity, maybe pause.
Just pause and ask, what might my body be trying to tell me right now?
That simple shift, just turning attention inward.
It can be incredibly revealing. It's like starting to learn that forgotten language again.
Okay, this feels like a good point to broaden out a bit. You mentioned this concept of the field of awareness. That sounds like it goes beyond just my individual body.
Right. It does, yes. The field, in this sense, is everything present in your experience at any given moment. It's dynamic.
So, my thoughts, feelings, sensations.
Yes, but also your surroundings, the room you're in, the people you with, even the sort of cultural narratives floating around, it's all interconnected.
Like a web. And our bodily experience is always happening within that web.
Precisely. Nothing happens in total isolation.
And if something significant happens, but it doesn't get fully resolved, it creates a kind of disturbance in that field.
That's a good way to put it, like a ripple in a pond that doesn't quite settle. Or a snag in the fabric. We often call it unfinished business.
Unfinished business.
Okay. And these unresolved things, they don't just vanish. They can linger as underlying tensions. They shape how we feel and react now, often without us realizing it.
They're like incomplete patterns trying to find completion somehow.
Exactly that. And it seems the body often becomes the place where these fragments are held, integrated into our physical structure almost.
We see that, don't we? Like someone who constantly clenches their jaw, maybe holding back anger.
Or chronic tension headaches that might be linked to unprocessed grief.
Even posture. Someone who feels inadequate might physically slump.
Potent examples of the body literally embodying that unfinished business. It's a nonverbal way of holding on.
And this ties into the idea of wholeness, right? That everything is connected.
Yes. The principle of wholeness suggests that an imbalance in one part affects the entire system. You can't isolate things neatly.
Like take habitual breath holding during stress. Seems small, right?
Seems small, but think about the knock-on effects. Oxygen levels, muscle tension, anxiety.
It cascades through the whole system, even after the stressful thing is over in your mind.
Exactly. It shows how the body's way of holding on can keep these cycles going. And it makes you wonder, maybe this is adaptive in a way.
How so? Adaptive to hold on to tension.
Well, maybe it's a way the system manages overwhelming stuff when the conscious mind just can't cope in the moment. The body kind of takes the hit, holds it so the mind doesn't completely short-circuit.
That actually makes a lot of sense. A protective mechanism, almost?
Could be. And then there's the role of attention in all this. Our focus is fluid. It shapes what we experience.
Right.
If our attention is fragmented or we're distracted when something intense happens.
It doesn't get fully processed.
Right. And the body seems to step in and store those unprocessed bits as these somatic markers. Bodily flags, you could say.
Which leads to this idea of isomorphism. That sounds technical.
It just means a kind of mirroring, a structural correspondence between our inner world, our psychology, and our outer reality, including our physical state.
Okay, like the examples we used.
Yeah.
Back pain flaring up in a toxic relationship.
Yeah. Or the slouched posture reflecting inner feelings of not good enough. The inner state and the outer physical manifestation mirror each other.
They're not just random coincidences.
Very rarely are they purely random. They speak to that deep interconnectedness. But, and this is important, figuring these things out isn't just an intellectual puzzle.
You can't just think your way to understanding it.
Not entirely. It often requires embracing ambiguity, uncertainty, stepping away from needing neat, rational explanations. Which brings us to insight.
Insight. That aha moment.
Exactly. When suddenly, connections you didn't see before become clear. A pattern emerges, it clicks.
It's not logical deduction step by step.
Yeah.
It's more a steady seeing.
A spontaneous recognition of a bigger picture, a larger whole, thinking back to the person crying during the massage.
Yeah.
Maybe that was a moment of insight for their system. Years of held emotion, showing up as tension, maybe numbness, suddenly finds release, finds integration. The pattern completes itself in that moment.
And this isn't a one-time fix, is it? It's a cycle.
It's recursive, yeah. As these fragments integrate, the whole field shifts. New possibilities might open up. Your sense of self, your relationship to the world can subtly change.
So it's an ongoing process of engaging with what's happening right now.
That continuous engagement is really key in Gestalt thinking. It's not about reaching some final perfect state, but being present with the unfolding process.
So if we feel stuck or unhappy, The invitation is to look closer.
Yeah, and listen deeper. Ask, what might you be missing? What is your body's silent language trying to tell you about the bigger picture?
This really does open up something, well, quite profound, maybe even a little unsettling, this idea of the silent intelligence of the body. What if our bodies actually possess a kind of knowing that goes beyond words, beyond reason?
It definitely challenges our usual way of thinking, doesn't it? We're so conditioned to believe the rational mind is king.
The CEO of the self.
Right. But the body seems to operate on a different frequency, maybe one that's more tuned into the nuances, the subtleties of experience.
And that idea of isomorphism, the mirroring.
Yeah.
You're suggesting it might go even deeper.
Perhaps. Perhaps the body isn't just passively reflecting our inner world or outer reality. Maybe it's actively participating in creating it.
Wow. How would that work?
Well, think about something as basic as breathing.
Okay. In and out.
It's this constant bridge, isn't it, between inside and outside. It connects us physically to existence itself. It shows how porous the boundary really is between me and not me.
That boundary isn't as solid as we think.
Not at all. And maybe that awareness extends down to every cell, a constant subtle dialogue with the wider field.
So physical sensations aren't just internal signals.
They could also be signals from that larger web, the environment, relationships, the whole context.
And this leads to a paradox, doesn't it?
Which one?
The more we try to control the body, force it into submission, dictate how it should feel.
The less we might actually understand its own wisdom, its own language.
So symptoms.
Yeah.
They aren't just problems to be fixed.
Maybe they're messengers. The body trying to communicate something important that the conscious mind hasn't grasped yet.
The mind wants clear answers, right? Labels. Causes.
Yes, the mind craves certainty, but the body seems much more comfortable with ambiguity, with fluidity, even with paradox.
So what does the body need from us then, if not explanations?
Presence, perhaps. Acceptance. A willingness to listen without immediately needing to fix or understand logically.
It sounds like you're suggesting that a lot of what we even call reality is shaped by these unconscious bodily processes.
It's a strong possibility. Our perceptions are likely filtered through this embodied history, this archive of experience held in our tissues.
That's a huge thought. Our past, physically held, colors how we see everything now.
It really does. Which leads to the ultimate question, perhaps. Who is really in charge? Is it the conscious mind or this deeper embodied knowing?
And maybe the answer isn't one or the other.
Maybe the answer lies in exploring that tension. The mind wants mastery, control. The body invites maybe surrender, listening, partnership.
This definitely takes us into philosophical territory. If the body is intelligent in this way, what does that mean for being human?
Right. Are we just complex biological machines? Or can we tap into something much larger, a greater wholeness, by learning to listen inward?
These aren't questions with easy answers.
No, and they're not meant to have easy answers. They're meant to spark wonder, I think, to open up possibilities.
And the stories we've touched on, the person in the massage, other examples of release, they remind us this isn't just theory, it happens.
It's a shared human capacity, this holding and processing of experience on levels that often bypass our conscious radar.
And it comes back to that cycle again. Completion, emergence.
Yes, the Gestalt cycle.
Yeah.
There's a beauty in that ongoing process, isn't there? Moving forward with curiosity, with a willingness to listen.
Not needing to have it all figured out.
Exactly. That constant movement, that openness is where growth happens. The body remembers, perhaps, because it's tuned into dimensions beyond our everyday awareness.
And by learning to listen, really listen,
we might just find answers to questions we didn't even know we were asking, and maybe glimpse who we could become.
Well, thank you for joining me on this really deep dive into the body's silent wisdom. It's certainly given me a lot to think about.
It's been a fascinating exploration for me, too. It really emphasizes that our bodies hold so much valuable information. They deserve our attention.
Definitely. Maybe a good takeaway for everyone listening is just to, pay a little closer attention in the coming days.
Just notice, gently, what sensations are present, what feelings. No judgment, just awareness.
Yeah. What subtle signals might your body be sending you right now, even as you listen?
It really feels like this journey of understanding ourselves, our bodies is, well, it's ongoing, isn't it? A continuous unfolding.
It truly is.